Let's call this meeting order. This is our Monday, December the 9th, 2024 at 3:30 PM. Our regular work session. And I'm gonna do a roll call first. Let's see. Mr. Burris.
Present.
Mr. Pope.
Present.
Mr. Lucas.
Present.
Mr. Hendricks. He's not here. Chair's here. Okay, before we get started, I'd like to ask Mr. Burris if he would lead us in prayer before we start off.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day, Lord. We pray, God, you would bless each and every one that's here today. Bless the families of the one that's represented here. And we pray, God, you would look upon this community. Continue, oh God, to bless us, oh God. And we pray, God, as we deliberate the business of this county, we pray, God, you will give us the right things to say, the right thoughts to have, and to make the right decisions. Father, we ask you to continue to bless each and every one here. Thank you for your son, Jesus, for dying for our sins. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a guest speaker, Mr. Carlos Nelson. Please come up.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just want to come and give y'all like a recap of where we stand with elections.
Okay.
As you know, we wrapped up a busy 2024. And I'm proud to say that, our poll workers, our staff, our board members excelled. I think Ware County has a lot to be proud of when it comes to elections. 2020 was difficult. 2022 was better, and 2024 was pretty much flawless, knock on wood. But I'm proud to say that we're in good hands. We have a good board, we have great poll workers, we have great staff. We have people that really care about trying to do the right thing in Ware County. There's a lot of counties, but I'm only speaking on our behalf. Y'all have a lot to be proud of with our elections. I do want to mention one small thing though. As a result of our the flooding downtown, the rain and all that we had, we did have a little damage. We had some water that came in. We are very lucky that the rain came at about 5 o'clock, because as I was getting ready to lock the front door, that's when I noticed water started to come in. And then we started picking up stuff off the floor, because we had a lot of our election equipment, it was after the election. A lot of our election equipment was on the floor, so we was able to get it up off the ground. Then we went into the back where we keep all our equipment, and water was coming in from that side of the street. And so we spent the next hour or so, getting things up on tables and chairs and, getting all our surge protectors and all that off the ground, but we didn't have any major, equipment loss. But we had a few little surge protectors. Other than that, that was about it. I'm just glad that the rain came and when it did, because if it would have been about 15 minutes later, we would have lost a lot of election equipment. It's no fault of in a human being. It was just that in the process of getting everything up and put back into place, things was on the floor, getting organized, and that's when we had a lot of the batteries and a lot of the expensive equipment that was at risk of getting water damage. But we were able to, get past that. We had no damage other than, flooding, getting the water out of the way, make sure there's no mold in the walls and things. So we're going to have a little expense, trying to, replace those little things. But other than that, we fared pretty well. But my main point here, I wanted to let you know that we had a good election. We had no issues whatsoever. We finished up last week with the city runoff. That was flawless. And I just wanted to give you a recap and see if you have any questions as we end the year. Get ready for next year.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Y'all got any questions for me?
Not so much a question, just I guess kudos to you and the staff at the election board. And like I said, I know it's been a lot of different things that we've had to deal with, you know, what we'll say hiccups, not so much in the election system, but just with the election board and, you know, workers in general. So I appreciate that, and also for your leadership over there as election supervisor, for Mr. Bartlett as the chairman of the election board. And I think this is something we can all be proud of in Waycross and Ware County, because a lot of places they can't really make these statements. You know, they have a lot of different things that were going on. So I just want to let you know I appreciate it. And also, you mentioned about the building, and you know, y'all may have to have some stuff done over there, and you already have that in the budget and a contingency, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah. Not exactly.
Okay. So I know you didn't mention anything, but I'm pretty sure you'll be maybe coming saying, you know.
Right now, it's just building maintenance type of issues.
Okay.
But nothing major, other than, you know, if the city, you know, can't figure out that drainage issue, or wherever the backlog is that causes that, there may be something to consider in the future, because you can't afford to have this to happen over a weekend, and it would just wipe out some very expensive election equipment. So that's one of my major concerns. So.
I'm thankful for that. Appreciate everything y'all do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Carlos, I would ditto what Commissioner Burr said. I know sometimes it gets kind of heavy-hearted down there, and, you know, y'all deal with some people that act out sometimes, and that's expected, but overall, I think you do a fabulous job down there. You keep us straight. You know, you call me and let me know when my paperwork's due several times, and I appreciate that. And to Mr. Danny, great job down there. We take y'all's advice very seriously, and we appreciate the job y'all do.
Appreciate it.
Good deal. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot. Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it. Okay. Mr. Roger Collins, would you come up?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Roger.
I'm just here to talk to you guys about HB 581. We went to training up in Macon. And like I said before, I strongly recommend we opt out. It's going to provide the assessors enough, they'll give them enough time that they can work on what they need to work on instead of having to keep track of another number. The homestead freeze that we have is way better than anything the state's offering. And we're not gonna be penalized for anything.
Even if we opt out of it, the state's not gonna penalize us.
No, there's a penny, it's called a floss, a floating local homestead, option sales tax. And we will still be eligible for that, if the commission and the city commission meet and y'all agree, y'all wanna do that, y'all can then put in a referendum to the people to let them vote for it. And that money will will offset some of the property taxes, the way the loss is. And it's a 5-year deal, and it's gotta be done every 5 years for that. But we will not be penalized. You got these counties that has the state homestead. If they was to opt out, they would not be eligible for to have that local option sales tax. But, I mean, it's gonna save them a ton of time, where they can actually keep track of what they really need to do, instead of keep track of the third number or fourth number that has no bearing at all on the citizens of Ware County.
I know y'all have been to training, and this keeps coming up. It's all kind of hard for me to understand. What are y'all requesting that this commission do? Adopt something, or
Just vote
vote
no.
on something, or where do we stand?
Well, there's something that has to be done, and there's a deadline that needs to be done sometime in January, because this is gonna go into effect March 1st, I think is when it's supposed to happen. But I think the general consensus out of the 300 people that were at the meeting, there were county commissioners, incoming commissioners, tax commissioners, our side of the business, in any of the counties, and school, yeah, in any of the counties that basically had what we had in place, it was brought up in conversation that most all those counties, really the smartest thing for them to do would be to opt out. I do think that probably the commission, the county, whoever the school board contacted us this past week, we provided them with some numbers. They were just looking at potential numbers. It sounded like their consensus is opting out is the smart thing to do. Hadn't spoke to anybody with the city. I do know that most of them, like I said, are gonna opt out, and as Roger said, the opportunity for Ware County, we're not gonna miss out on any kind of funding the way, since we have all three of the freezes that we have in place, so, it kinda looks that way. They're having another training, January the 13th. It was about booked up before we left there, so if anybody wants to go to something like that, hear the question and answer session, and all the questions will be asked, I'd urge you to maybe speak with them and try to get yourself in a position to go see what they have to say, but it really looks like a good thing. But I do think the county probably, maybe the school board and the city need to put it out. You have to think about that this was something that was voted on by the taxpayers of the state of Georgia. So you want to make sure that you're transparent with them and let them know that they have the best of what's out there, and that you're not, as a county, a city, or a school, saying that you want to opt out of this when they think they could possibly be saving some money. They need to be assured that you're doing the right thing, that all the entities are doing the right thing, and it's not taking in the wrong concept that you're seeing something that was put on a ballot and you're not agreeing to do it. You just have to be able, like I said, it needs to be put out there, probably maybe in the paper or other places where the public knows what y'all are doing. You're doing this in the best interest, of the citizens.
Yeah, and the requirement for each individual agency, the school board, the county, and the city, is you have to hold 3 public meetings. And you gotta advertise 30 square inches. And they gotta be individual, like with a tax increase, you can hold 2 meetings on one day. You can't with these. It's gonna take 3 weeks. So that's why we're telling you, y'all need to start thinking about this, because the time frame is from January until, it's gotta be turned into the Secretary of State, recorded by no later than March 1st. Mm-hmm. And you can always, if you opt out, you can always, if for some reason, and I don't know what that reason would be, you wanted to opt back in, you can opt in. You cannot be in it after March 1st and opt out.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roger, if you could, and I appreciate what you and Billy the information y'all been getting to us, and I've participated in, I think 2 Zoom calls pertaining to this House Bill 581, and also in the literature material I can find on it, and just to ditto what you all are saying, that seems like the best thing right now. But could you spoke about if we opt out, so if you stay in, what would be the repercussion from that?
That's gonna cause them a lot more work. That honestly, it is. That's the whole thing. But you cannot opt out after March 1st at all.
And being extra work, Billy, could you just give an example?
Well, what happened with the way that these came about, like I said, is we right now track 2 different homestead numbers. One for the county, it was established first, freeze. Then the city and the school came along. So when we're doing this, they come about at different times. So they have base values that we have to track, and then those values have to be adjusted every year. So with this, you're looking at potentially 2 to 3 more numbers, base numbers, that you would have to try to track, which then opens you up for potential litigation down the road if your homesteads are not done correctly. There have been some attorneys that have preyed on that with homesteads being done incorrectly with counties and sued them, and there's been a lot of money that's, counties have been responsible for paying back So you wanna keep it as simple as what you can keep it, and yet get the taxpayer the best thing you can give them. I mean, that's just what it simply boils down to.
And that's the bottom line. I think, pretty sure with you, Roger, and this commission, want what's gonna be the best, for the citizens. And now the thing is to try to disseminate the information out in a format that they will understand what, because it's kind of confusing, really.
It is, and like I said, when they think that they voted, and that 70% of the people that went to the poll voted yes. So they think that it's something they're supposed to get, so you have to, be proactive and letting them know, what you're doing for them, not something that comes up after the fact, and they say that, the people that they put in place that they voted for just decided to opt out of this, which they think potentially would cost them some money, so you just want them to be informed.
So I guess what we need to do is have, to educate all the citizens as to what happen if we don't, and if we do, and I think that's the main thing, just to get the information out there to them.
Probably put in there when these freezes were passed, what legislator got them in, Boggs, Hatfield, who got it in and when they got it in, where these people can see how many years that this has been in effect and they've been taken care of. So both of them, 20 years, basically.
One other thing.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
One other thing, Rod, you mentioned about that floss tax. Can you go just a little bit more into depth as far as in other words, if the city and the county agreed to put it on the referendum and if it passed, how would that benefit the citizens?
So, you know how the loss works, right?
Right.
Right now. So that comes off the gross millage rate, where our rollback is now 11,736. That's due to a 4.757 mil rollback off the property tax. That is off sales tax. 1 penny sales tax. That's on every parcel, every tax bill. So just say we had that floss, and it's already in too. Our millage rate would be 11.736 minus another 4.757, which would bring it to roughly around just under 7, be six, a high 6. And that's off everybody's tax bill. So everybody will pay less taxes. And honestly, we got a lot of people coming in Waycross and Ware County to spend money left and right. And they're offsetting your property taxes already. And that's what the floss will do. It will offset it twice.
If we opt out, that won't affect that.
That
If we
does
get,
not, no,
if we
it
get that
will not
one,
affect that because we have the freeze. We have a floating, homestead. We have the freeze.
they can't come back later and,
No, we can't. Nope.
okay.
And I think that's the beauty of it, like you mentioned about people that coming into this community to shop and spending money, and this tax would offset basically your property tax
Yeah.
in the form of a millage rollback.
Right. And so, and that one's gonna come off the bottom, rollback rate. So right now, we have a loss, and that comes off your gross millage rate to get your rollback rate. The floss will come off the bottom
Right.
and lower down even further.
Now, you said,
And I wanna say this, I want what's best for Ware County and
Right.
taxpayers,
I feel like
because I am a Ware County taxpayer.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, it's gonna save me money, save us time, and it's best for me. It's no different than anybody else.
Okay.
now, when you say, excuse me, Roger, Chairman, if you will, when you say every parcel, are you even talking about rental property or just homes?
Every parcel,
Every parcel?
every one. So you get the tax bill and you look on your rollback, you look on the breakdown, you have the county, the school, if you're in, just a county resident, and the city, if you're a city, then you'll see sales tax rollback for the county, and if you're in the city, you'll see county and you'll see city. All of those will double. That's why I take that. The floss the floss part will double, but it just depends if y'all going with the same rate that you would going with a loss. If you don't, if the same breakdown, I think it's 60-40.
Yeah, that's fine.
So if y'all agree to something else, the numbers will
Fluctuate a little bit.
will fluctuate on the floss. Then that'll be different than the lost sales tax. But the money, the dollars will be the same.
Are we any closer to what we spoke of last time when it comes to the school system? You know, the lowest they can go is 14 meals.
Well, yes, that's gonna have to be addressed in the next session in January. And that, right now, they've got a bill and it's gonna be pushed and get that passed.
Okay. All right.
Or they can go down to 10 meals without losing any money instead of 14.
Because they could have went down this time, but
If they wouldn't have lost any money,
Right.
their rollback rate was mid-12.
yeah, but they can't afford to lose that state revenue like that.
Well, no, they could not raise, the highest they can go up is 20 meals. And so if they went up to 20 meals, there was no way for them to be able to recoup that money. They would lose
Right.
the $12.5 million. Because they cannot double their millage rate. So that's the reason why they've done that, and that's the reason why legislators, and there is, Ware County wasn't the only county, there is so many counties that had that problem. So the legislators have talked about it, and they say that's what they're gonna push in January. And they said they pretty much got everybody in agreement to approve it.
Good, good.
Okay.
Thank y'all, Mr. Billy
Yeah, thank
Rogers.
you so
Thank
much.
y'all.
Thank you.
And, I just wanna ask if y'all have y'all, been talking about or decided or anything about HB 311? About the, federal disaster where we gotta give y'all the parcels of the damaged or destroyed houses and reduction in taxes.
Well, we spoke about it that last time you were here talking about it, but
Y'all haven't
We
I
had,
spoke of it out of that, no, sir. I think it would be a good thing I think we talked about giving you the authority to, is that what you're referring to, giving you the
No,
authority?
well, the county commission has to either decide if it, on a dollar figure or a millage rate figure that you can give, reduction into destroyed, the people with the destroyed properties. And you have to have a different number or a millage rate, it's either or, for the ones with a damaged structure. It's not trees, these are structures, your house, the barn, and stuff like that. But they are not just having trees blown over and cost you money, or anything like that.
we have to give the authority to set the rate on that, or
Well,
to set
no.
a price
Well, the county commission has to set the rate,
rate on it,
yeah.
on all the damages,
Yeah.
if we lower the property.
You can say, you can lower a damaged home's assessment by X amount of dollars.
Right.
Or you can lower a destroyed home by X amount of dollars. But there has to be, if you're doing destroyed and damaged, there's gotta be two different numbers. They can't be the same.
Who would make that determination on who got the reduction?
Well, the chief appraisers and, EMA director went around and they got all the parcels and all the what's damaged and all that stuff. That was part of the deal with that. Believe me if correct me if I'm wrong, Billy, but part of what they had to do with FEMA.
Do you know how many that would include, the number,
It would be between 600 and 1,000
residences?
structures.
Include commercial?
Structures, including commercial.
Any structure.
Yeah, structure.
Until it's brought back to,
Nah, I believe that's a one-time,
it's a
One
one-time,
time.
if you rebuild it, and
yeah, it's just a one-time, deal.
deduct for,
Yeah.
So if there's structure damaged and somebody like Jonathan or Billy, somebody has to say it's damaged.
Well, they've already got a list. They've already got a list.
So on that list,
And what
the,
they're gonna do is they have to give me the list and I have to come to you guys with the parcels. These parcels are damaged, these parcels are destroyed.
so the millage rate will be reduced for those parcels on that list one time.
You can do a reduced millage rate or you can do, a dollar amount.
What's your recommendation? Doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
Do a 25, 50, 75, or?
do we need to give one person that authority, or do you do it, or the tax?
That's the authority that the commission has, and y'all pass it, and then I will take them and I have to adjust all their tax rules.
Okay.
Is there a time limit on it?
I
Sooner the
didn't
better.
recall the time limit, did you?
Not offhand, I know that some talk about doing it for this year, some talk about doing it for next year,
Yeah,
since that happened so late in the year.
yeah, so,
Okay.
um,
That's just something we need to do, the commission need to do?
Yes.
Okay, right, okay, I understand.
yeah,
You got
and
that?
I believe I gave y'all
Clerk?
copies of all the HB 311
Yeah,
the last
yes, sir.
time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So,
You did.
And I think that was something, that, because, I mean, a lot of people were devastated, with this Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
And like I say, we want to make sure that we don't have somebody trying to slip in,
oh,
To get
no,
something
there's
done.
not, they use, the airplanes and their appraisers and went around and took pictures of every one of them. So that's what is on the list that will be given to y'all.
So your list is already set.
You through with it, right?
I would think the sooner the better to help people out after that dang storm.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and now, like I said, this year, well, we can't really go back now into this year, but we could do it for next year's taxes, right?
Well, you can do either one, because it doesn't matter, because I can adjust the tax bills.
Okay,
And I
well,
got till January 15th this year to pay it, right?
Yeah,
So we still got time to adjust them if we want to.
I think this is something, like I say, because this is some of the worst time people lives around here in Waycross and Ware County, and that's the least we can do if it's a legitimate, claim, if they damage or destroyed, whatever, and it was a lot of damage and destroyed properties.
Can the attorney give the board a recommended motion to take care of all this as soon as possible?
Certainly.
You
And
know,
if
I'd be
if
willing
we
to have a
can-
call meeting to get this taken care of for people.
It may even be that, and if the list is prepared, and I'm not sure how the properties are delineated on the list, if they're already in a fashion where you could determine totally destroyed, partially destroyed, 50%, there may be a way that we could go ahead and do it tonight, but I'll get with, Mr. Carter during our break and see what status the list is in, and that'll let us know what we can do.
Okay. I think that'd be good.
Yeah,
All right.
go and get it done.
We can do that, Roger, we'll come up with something,
all right, so
Thank you, Roger.
okay?
I don't want to sit down, but I'm gonna be the first one.
Yeah, you fit to be right here again, okay? On the agenda item, we go ahead into that resolution for 2024-34, delegating authority to the tax commissioner to waive penalties and interest.
Yes, sir.
Now,
So, y'all, the previous commission, I think it was each one of y'all, and,
Mr. Sammy
no,
Hendricks,
Samuel, it was,
Jared, Steve,
Steve, gave me the authority to waive penalties and interest. And they have to be renewed every term. So it's gonna be effective January 1st. And that's if y'all want me to continue that, or if not, it's gonna come back to y'all.
okay,
And y'all can deal with the public.
I think we need to give it to you.
I think he needs to keep it.
Yeah, I've dealt with that before, and I'd rather you do it.
That's right. I'd rather you keep that headache.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I'll go ahead and tell you, the A and B, I've got them backwards.
Put it over there with-
As if you didn't notice.
Okay,
So the, actually, A on the agenda is the waiving penalties, but A, where you're looking at the actual agenda item and resolution.
give him
is
authority.
B, yeah, but they're,
Okay.
they're both in there.
So you'll get both of them, A and B.
They're all there.
Now, let's go to B now. You got that one down, we just carried over with them. Okay.
Yeah,
2024-35 authority for tax commission to accept payments of taxes. I thought you already had that.
Well, what this does really, the way it really
Have
should
to
read,
renew it.
authority to accept checks and other instruments. The legal tender in Georgia is that they recognize it's cash and gold bullion. And I have to get this authority, this resolution done every term, so you can pay with checks, debit cards, cashier's checks, money orders, and the like. If you choose that you don't want to, then I don't know who's gonna make the call to CSX and tell them they gotta pay their $2.8 million in gold bullion or cash.
Yeah.
But I just need to have this resolution again for January 1st.
You take checks and all right on now, so you
I
go.
take some, there's some checks I won't take, depends on who the person is.
You take crypto?
No, I don't take crypto, we've been looking into it. The tax commissioners, we've been talking about it, looking into it and seeing how we can do that, but really right now, the money's there, but it fluctuates. So I could get something, some crypto and give it to y'all, and that'll be good for whatever it is at the time. But it can fluctuate, it can drop, or it can go up.
Right.
So that's what's kind of holding us back.
Oh, yeah.
So you got the questions?
Is it?
Yeah, y'all got any
I'm
more on
good.
that?
I'm good with passing it right back.
Let him have that one then.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see, appointment for the Ware County Land Bank Authority.
Mr. On this one,
We
they're
got it.
asking for this because Mr. Carlos Nelson, who holds post 7, his term will expire December 31, and he's completed a full 4-year term, so he can't turn around and serve another term. And
Who is that? Mr.
Carlos
Carlos?
Nelson. Carlos Nelson.
Carlos, he's, coming off of it, isn't
Right, so.
he? Yeah, he
And
can't
I had
have
sent
it
an
again.
email. I didn't include it here, but it doesn't say.
Have you
that
got
the person
anybody?
Has to be, reside only in the county, they have to be a resident of Ware County, but it does not matter apparently if they live in the city or the county. Whoever you appoint does not have to be only a county resident.
You got anybody that's interested that's contacted you?
Commissioner
I
Burke?
got a name,
You
Mr.
got a
Chairman,
name?
I'd just like to submit,
Okay.
when we got it, and, like I say, that the land bank, it does have term limits on it, which when it was formulated, I was on it, I chaired it for, I guess, 4 years or whatever. But the name I would like to submit is, Commissioner William Simmons, former Commissioner William Simmons. He already serves on the Ware County Planning Commission, and, he said he would be happy to serve in that capacity on the, land bank.
You're not talking about Patrick sitting back there hiding, are you?
I'm talking about
Or
Patrick's
his daddy.
father.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I don't have anybody. I'm good.
Anybody got anybody? Anybody
That's
else?
a fine pick for me. I think he's a good fellow.
Yep.
And I would just like to say too, Mr. Chairman, it was another gentleman, but right now, we didn't know, and I didn't have time to find out legally if he could really serve, because he serves on another capacity right now at Ware County, but I think if another opening comes up, I think he'd definitely be a good fit for it. But we got to find out first if he can really do that.
You talking about Patrick on that?
What,
No,
what'd you say the Simmons name was?
William Simmons,
Is he kin to Freddie?
that's his brother.
He is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie, good brick man.
Yeah.
He laid a lot of bricks for me.
That's his son right there.
Freddie's son?
No, that's William's son right
That's
there.
William's son,
Stand
right?
up, Patrick.
Okay,
Yeah, he's with the city.
yeah.
It's hard to see when he's standing up, but he's back there.
Freddie ride you on that motorcycle.
But that's
Freddie used to
pretty-
ride that motorcycle, did
Hey, I tell Patrick's age now, me and him graduated high school together.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I can go further now. I used to carry him to elementary school, him and my son and all. You know,
Okay,
My wife taught him in school, so.
is that the only one? Only
that's
appointee?
the only one I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody got anybody else?
I think he's a good fella. I think he's the right one for the pick.
Carry him on, okay? All right, let's go on to the next one. Alcohol license application. D. See which one they got now. D right there. I can't say that first. Tail has a convenience store at 7471 Albany Avenue in Millwood, and would like to obtain a license to sell beer and wine and consumption off premises. This location meets all the requirements of the Ware County Alcohol License Regulator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is a request to, for an alcohol license for Ms. Patel. The location already has a license, but she's buying it, so, by law, we have to obtain a license for every location, so that's all we're doing
Is that the one right there in Millwood on the
On
Millwood?
the
That's
left.
the old Huey's.
Huey's old place.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Huey's place, not
How
up.
far, Chief, how far is it away from the church? Don't it have to be so many feet away from the city?
300 feet.
It's beyond that, right?
This one would be, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, you got, Albany Highway has a 220 foot right of way. And so how you measure that is from the front door of the business to the right of way, close to the right of way line, and then down the right of way, and then across it, so you would be,
Okay.
You recommend it? You know him?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Let's carry it over. All right, now we have another one, alcohol license application. Explain that one.
This one's a little different. This is the first one in Ware County.
This is a motor land.
Alcohol catering license. Miss Harley Harris and Miss Sarah Hickox is applying for a catering license. Their home office will be at 4131 Knight Avenue. And, they don't have any disqualifiers. I've read our ordinance, the county ordinance doesn't go into a lot of detail, it just says you have to have one. But then I went back and I pulled subject, 562-13, I call it beverage, citation or catering for the state rules and regs. And they're pretty, they're very regulated in those regs of what they have to do. For example, they have to get a permit for every event that they cater alcohol to. They can't just, Commissioner Lucas can't just do an event and then hire them. They gotta get a permit through us and a permit through the state to do that event. And that covers their transportation of alcohol to that location. They can't bring broken packages back with them. Once you break the seal on that beverage, then that beverage belongs to that sponsor, whoever's doing that event. And they have to get a state license. They have to notify the state within, I think it's 5 days for theirs. But this is our first one. They don't have any disqualifiers. We would recommend that we approve.
So this mobile alcohol business they would furnish, sell, whatever, only alcohol, right?
Right, well, they could do food as well.
They can do
if they've
food
got
too?
yes, sir.
Okay,
But they have to have this alcohol license. And
I got you.
not only do they have to apply or comply with these regulations for the catering, but they still gotta comply with the state law for alcohol license as well.
I got you.
So, it's pretty detailed on what they have to go through to do an event.
Is this the first one that we have in,
First one
in Ware County?
First one in Ware County.
I know I saw it done in Ware County.
Well, that's
Through a
nonprofit.
mobile. Yeah,
So profit and civic organizations fall under a different category. They don't have to have a caterer.
oh, they don't,
But if it's for profit, you have to have a catering license to serve alcohol. The state has what they call a special event permit for nonprofit and civic organizations. So Ducks Unlimited, Turkey Banquet, that's nonprofit or that's civil, or civic organization. So they just fall under that special event license through the state, which comes to us as a permit, and then we forward it to the sheriff's office and make sure everybody agrees on it, and then we issue the permit. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple of questions or concerns. Like you said, when I read this the first time, and one of the things I was, and maybe you or whoever, if the applicants are here, could explain, okay, say hypothetically, someone wanted to employ them for some type of event where they're serving alcohol. All right, what about where it's in proximity to churches or schools or things of that nature?
you still have to meet the requirements of the alcohol ordinance. I think you would still have to meet the setback requirements of those events, at those events. I'm not sure on that, but that's just my logical thinking.
Okay, that was
You have to
one.
meet those.
Yeah, one of the concerns I had, and then this would be more or less like I said, and you did say they would have to get like a license for each event, so they couldn't just go out on a Saturday and just go set up somewhere and
Right.
just start selling like you would with a food truck or
It's
something
a
like
permit
that.
for each event, yes, sir.
Okay,
So their license would stay with their mobile unit, but a permit for each time they set up and sell.
Correct. They have to have, you know, basically the amount that they transport, the amount that they distributed, they have to have a list, a log of all that in that unit, with them. So it's pretty detailed what they have to do.
and like I said, when I was reading this, I said, well, this got to be, I never even heard this even when I was on city council, having this particular type, so I would think that it would be wise and prudent of us to really try to look at everything about this, because, like I say, did you contact anyone else that has this, in the community that has this?
I have not, I just pulled the state regulations and began reading those.
I would be really interested to find out if it's other communities that has that same thing, if they run into any problems, or if they say, well, we tried this, but this worked out good, or it didn't work out because of X, Y, Z, or whatever, you know.
I can talk to Lowndes, they have it.
They have it there?
Is the permit, is the license good? Can it be used in the city of Waycross?
That would depend on the city of Waycross. If we allow that license in the city or not. Like a panhandle license, not a panhandle, a peddler's license,
Right.
you have to get a separate, if I'm not mistaken, you have to get a separate license for a peddler in the city of Waycross.
Right.
You have to have it for both county and city. So that
But
would be based on.
But as far as the alcohol license, would that be recognized by the city of Waycross?
It'd be up to the city if they recognize it or not.
So that's open to question at this
That's a
point.
good question.
Are the applicants here?
yeah.
I did not see.
I think the sheriff's department should know, I mean, we should ask them too about this.
We notify them for
You notify them?
every event we have, yes, sir. Or every event, we would notify them.
Are they okay with it?
They have been on the special use, they probably don't know about the catering issue, but, in our special use permit or, special event permit, they get notified, and we would notify them on this as well. And I talked to the sheriff a little bit, he didn't comment either for or against it, I talked to him about this morning that we had one, and, you know, just reiterated to him that we would notify him if, or his staff, command staff, if we have an event. We always do, we get their blessings.
Right.
Even though we don't have to, we do, so.
Mr. Chairman, do you think this is something that we could get a little bit more information about?
Yeah, I do
before we
too. I think I'd like to hear something from the
dive
sheriff's
into it, you
department.
know?
If they,
I don't think the applicants would, would have any objections to tabling it to get more information, and I can make sure they're here next meeting.
Okay,
I'd
I
like to hear
just,
from them.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
better, and
What
then
you
in
think?
the
I
meantime, we
think
can
need
try
hear
to,
from them.
like I say, find out from Lions or some other county that have this,
I can check on it for Lowndes.
yeah.
And is this gonna be like a food truck, or is this gonna be like them just going to a location?
It's like them going to a location.
Okay,
Say, your son got married, and you catered an event, and you had a wedding reception, and they catered it, they could sell alcohol at the wedding reception. I say they sell alcohol, actually sell to the sponsor by the bottle, is what happens. So it's not, I don't think it's any individual.
Yeah.
Basically to the sponsor.
okay.
I was just as confused as y'all were.
It's not to be bought and carry out, it's just to be used there.
Right. And even if, say, if I open a bottle of tequila, and I pour one drink out of it, put the cap back on it, the event's over, that tequila has to stay with the event holder. It can't go back with the caterer.
Can't resell it?
Can't resell it. So you buy it by the bottle when you buy it.
Gotcha.
And you know, and I don't know how it really works, I don't really deal in that much, but say you got this event, and you got someone there and they selling, you know, alcoholic beverages, whatever. Whereas I think, like, say if you were in a bar or something like that, and you were the bartender, you might say, look, you had enough right here. Whereas something like that, if they didn't, and then something happened, I'm not trying to say it's a boogeyman out there, but say if they got in, you know, accidents or whatever, you know, I mean, you know, that's the day of liability now,
Right?
you know, it just,
Well, like I said, it says that you have to meet the regs of the alcohol license, which is the state and local license. And in the state and local license, it will prohibit you, supposedly, prohibit anyone serving to anybody who's already intoxicated.
but then begs the question then, how do you know some people may be walking around just upright and
Some
they
people do.
inebriated to the mics,
Some people do.
you know?
But I mean, this is what it says, just like if I was at a bar, and I tried to buy a mixed drink, and I appear to be drunk, then by law, that bartender is not supposed to sell me that drink. If I go to a package or package stores or a convenience store, and I appear to be intoxicated, by law, that clerk or cashier is not supposed to sell me that alcohol.
And if they were to sell it to you and something happened, then it starts like a ripple effect.
But it wouldn't be a ripple effect on the county because we got the ordinance. I mean, just, they broke the law, not the county. So if it was a ripple effect on the county for that, then it'd be a ripple effect on the state of Georgia because the same law the state of Georgia's got.
I'm not comfortable with it, you know, in its
I
present
understand.
I
state right
think we
now.
ought to table it, let's find
I
out.
can do some more research on it.
Okay,
Okay, so what you think about that?
I think
Table.
table it, just table it and see.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Jane. Okay. Downtown Waycross Development Authority SPOS disbursement. Melinda, who's going to explain that one? Okay.
Let me say one thing, Mr. Chairman. This is, as you remember, the 2022 SPOS was passed. I want to thank Beverly for bringing up the figures that have been collected for the SPOS last meeting. Money's been collected, and this is kind of a program that we developed to go ahead, the referendum required the Ware County Development Authority, Jason's deal, and the Downtown Development Authority, any projects before any SPOS money can be spent, come to the county commission for approval. That was in the referendum that passed. And this, as you can see, is a list of projects that the Downtown Development Authority has planned. And this is a way to get them all approved, money's there, and then a process they can come to the clerk or manager and withdraw as needed rather than having to come to this commission every time a project comes up and they want to make a withdrawal from their account. so they can explain the projects.
Okay, there's an amount, is that
It's
correct?
250,000
What
was
is 250,000?
250,000.
Huh?
250,000.
250,000.
I think Laura
Yeah, I
Dixon,
remember that was on
Catherine
the-
Taylor, and Jack
On the
Lott
splash,
have the
it was on
details.
the splash referendum, yeah. Okay.
Laura?
Okay. Well, as Mr. Jerry said, we did include in here just a brief summary of some of the projects that we're looking at doing for downtown. A lot of them circulate around the train depot and how we're gonna include the tourism that's become one of the leading, industries in the state of Georgia and is actually benefiting downtown. I know Ms. Catherine has a great idea for our caboose in our depot with her kiosk. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Okay, so an interactive kiosk to place inside of the little caboose that was saved from scrap, as well as a kiosk inside the depot. What this would do would allow children and hopefully, and we're seeing more of this, we've got daycares and we've got some schools we want to get on like a field trip destination that they want to come and do this. The kiosk would be programmed, it would be kid-friendly, it would explain about the history of the caboose and its importance on the trains at that time, but also give some historical information on how the railroad grew in Waycross, how Waycross got its name, etc. The freestanding kiosk inside of the depot goes into more of an adult explanation. Again, key sensitive and able to interact with what the person is looking for, but also would feature some information about all of the different destination spots in downtown, as well as other tourist areas that you would want to see. So basically just a live interactive tourist person, for a lack of a better way, would be what we are hoping to. And I think with this, like I said, we're already seeing the caboose, schools are utilizing it, daycares are utilizing it, and it's open to the public. I think this would be a good way to bring further people downtown for both of those buildings.
Well, could one of y'all explain the system that has cameras at the depot and people all over the world are watching trains in
Yes.
Waycross on the
We
internet?
have a rail fans camera that's over the awning on the backside of the depot, and it is a live 24/7 camera on YouTube. You can actually go onto YouTube and type in rail fans Waycross, Georgia, and you can watch a live feed of the trains coming in and out of the rice yard. Also, what's really cool about that feature is people all over the world watch this. And you can go in and see a chat group. So there's people, we've gone in just randomly, and people in countries of Africa are watching our rail fans camera, as well as people in England as well. And we've seen an increase since we have moved our offices back into the train depot. We've gotten to meet the visitors that are coming just to look at these trains. And you know, if you don't go out there and watch the trains, you wouldn't ever think these people are there, and they are. We've had people from Nova Scotia, from Switzerland, Canada, all kinds of visitors that have come from this rail fans camera. So that's a lot of the reasons we're wanting to really tap into this, so that we can create more of an experience for them when they're coming. So they're not just sitting and watching the trains, but they're also interacting with us and our train depot and our caboose, and potentially interacting with our businesses downtown as well.
They doing that because they want to. We sit there and wait on them and watch them all day because we have to.
Absolutely. And they think that we are crazy to not be as more supportive of those trains.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank y'all.
Jack?
Appreciate it.
I just wanted to, again, part of the money that we're requesting is to be used. 24 years ago, we moved into the depot, major project that was done with T-Splosh money, and if we hadn't done it, that building wouldn't be there today, and that's one of the biggest parts of the history of this community is that rail depot.
But when you get old buildings, you get problems. We've now got to seal the bricks, mortar, and put a sealer on them because we're getting water coming in through the bricks and messing the sheetrock up on the inside. So with some of the money that from this project we'll do to repair the walls and repair some rotten wood and to stop this migration of moisture coming into the building. But it's I think it's been well perceived what's the use of the building, and it was certainly well worth the money to have kept the history of that building alive and well in this community. There's one project that hopefully will come to fruition. The Downtown Development Authority and Patrick Simmons at the city and Bill Gross, who remodeled and opened the Ware Hotel and the Bund Building for apartments. He owns the Lyric Theater. And hopefully these three groups can come together and do something with that blight on that corner. The city's got a part, Development Authority a part, and the owner. So that's in the future, hopefully pretty quick.
Yeah, we plan to use, I went into some detail on there, using the money kind of to lay the groundwork for that project. As he said, we have an idea that we would love to use the building for. We want to try to keep as much of it as we possibly can. We are understanding that it could possibly have to be torn down. Hopefully, we're trying to avoid that at all costs. So a lot of this money we can use to get with structural engineers, different architects, and other vital key players in this. Like he said, I'm working closely with Patrick and Duke at the city. They're on board to help us try to figure something out to save this building, save some of the history. And we want to lay that groundwork so then we can move forward, whether it's going for grants, whether it's going for investors, developers. We have to be able to come to them and show them our ideas and show them that we're prepared to take this project on. So we would really like to get that moving.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate it, Downtown Development Authority and what you all are doing to revitalize and keep downtown going. And you mentioned about the Lyric and Bill Gross, I believe that's his name. Mm-hmm. And he has a good track record for what he does, i.e. the Ware Hotel, the Bund Building, and those buildings, like Jack alluded to earlier, if someone hadn't come in, they probably would be raised and just be a parking lot or something there now. But you got families that staying there, and I think that any vibrant downtown, especially when you get people living there, that's what really makes a downtown. When you have people that's living there, and then you got people that's working in businesses. So I think it's a win-win, you know, for everyone. Now, on this fashion shop in the Andrews Cab, can you kind of elaborate just a little bit what's going on with that?
So that, I added that in, after speaking with the city manager last week. He has been in contact with the current building owner. He's still working with him to see if he's going to be able to save it, and what his options are moving forward. But with that looming concept that building may not be salvageable and may have to come down, we wanted to have it on here so that you would know that we would be prepared to step in, whether it's to get a rendering of adding back 4 to 5, 6 storefronts, because the issue downtown isn't that we don't have businesses. The issue is we don't have enough places for the businesses. We need storefronts. So we're really trying to be prepared for whenever that moment comes, that we can be on go, to then go again to investors, developers, grants, whatever the options may be, to make sure that that piece of property becomes something useful for downtown and to continue the development.
And I got a phone call today, and the owner's not gonna do anything with the building, so we know, our realtor called me, what do I forward about the building? I don't believe the building can be saved. If you look at the front of the building, excuse me, the brick are poking out, and another storm, you may have bricks, you know, very dangerous for people walking under the building. The building could have been saved many years ago if the current owner had re-roofed it and stopped the water penetration into the building, but the roof is gone. It's an open air building inside. So, but what we would like to do, rather than make it a park or whatever, we would like to have 5, 6 storefronts with lofts upstairs. So we'd have 2,000 square foot, roughly 2,000 square foot building, storefronts,
And, again, Laura has people wanting space right now. They won't be downtown, but we don't have anything, we're full. We don't, you know, we've got a few buildings that are not available because the owners won't do anything with them. And we're working on that, the city's working on that to try to make those become available. But if we lose that building, we certainly need to put back storefronts. Elizabeth Street needs storefronts.
What about the mural? That was real interesting.
So, I'm gonna try to explain. It's where the road blockages are in between the two parking lots at the intersection of Mary Street, Alice Street, and Plant Avenue, where Cali K's and Doughboy Park are. You have our train depot parking lot, and then you have the city-owned public parking lot, and right there is the roadblock signs to keep people from driving over the
Come out where
road.
the railroad crossing is blocked.
Correct. And we would just like to make that not so much of an eyesore, and the perfect opportunity is to bring art. Art has become a huge economic driver for downtowns as well. So the idea is to build a wall. It would be made of seaboard and a metal frame, and CSX is on board. They have given me permission as long as it's not attached to those road blockages and just in front of it. It would be about 20 feet long, about 8 feet high. The mural idea is a train coming out from the right side, like it's leaving the Rice Yard, and in the steam it would say downtown Waycross, and in the background have the outline of our buildings. Almost like a shadow. It's going to be specifically to downtown, so those who stop and take photos and see it, it is just for our downtown and kind of puts us on the mark.
Good idea.
You're on railroad. You're on railroad.
Yeah, man.
You all right with that?
Yeah, I'm good at that.
Put a
That's
step
great.
up there and then go down and take your picture like you're holding on the train.
We can take your picture down there when you get it.
And that, you know, you mentioned about that kiosk and everything, you know, Folston, they have what they call, I think, the Folston funnel over there, and that's been a real drawing card for that community.
Absolutely.
And, so it's really something over there.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming.
We appreciate y'all's support.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate what y'all doing downtown.
When is this money available? Will this be after the bridge? Or is it, what, I mean, they can't get any right now though, until
Right.
we, because the overpass is, we
Right,
got
let me
to
ask
pay that
her.
out first.
Come up, Mr.
I was gonna let Beverly come up and explain.
Beverly.
Ask her, I don't think she heard it.
you asking?
When can they get this money to, that they
Well, in the
want
past,
for the,
what we've done with the WWDA is when he has a project, he pays for it, and then he requests money, and we pay him back.
pay him back?
So, is that the way this one's gonna work, or?
This is written.
That's what I was
To
wanting to know, how's
authorize
it
payments
gonna work?
within 10 days
Because
of-
Yeah, this approves these projects, so we can
Right.
get the money. This is, the attorney came up with the agreement.
Yeah.
So this goes by the referendum
I'll
itself.
read it.
Okay.
Follow
It
the
says,
referendum.
the county does further approve and authorize payments to be made to DWDA in the amounts as set forth on said list within 10 business days from the date the DWDA submits to the county a written application for the payment of any item on said list, not as a whole, but one
So
at
you
a
got
time.
10 days to pay once they submit for
Right.
that
Yeah.
particular
Right.
project.
So it's pretty much the same, like it,
Same,
Yeah.
same
same thing
thing.
we're doing.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not all at one time.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
I
know we
think-
can't spend
think
any of
what
it
they're
until we
in-
get the bridge paid for, and then it starts.
No, this already collected.
No, this is
Yeah,
collected.
this is
It's
money
already
set aside.
collected, this is for
Yeah.
the 20.
Yes, sir,
This
this,
is,
Yeah,
the
Beverly's already
overpass
got
money
this
has
money.
been collected.
Oh, it has?
Yes.
it's being collected.
This is above and beyond that.
Okay,
I think our attorney had.
so we can start with the other projects now.
Well, I was just gonna mention that the original spliced language required DWDA to come before you all for approval of, any projects. And so what they're doing through this resolution is they've attached this list of projects, most of which were just described to you all, and they're asking you to basically go ahead and pre-approve these projects so they don't have to come back for approval of each one. They'll just submit for payment, and then they're asking the county to render that payment within 10 days.
Then when they're completed, we pay for them. Okay. All right, thank you, Beverly. Okay, any more on it?
I'm good, let's put on the agenda, on the vote.
Move it over.
Move it over.
Okay.
Now, this next one, if you want to,
Discussion of the LMIG application.
the 2025 is just coming up with names to be resurfaced because of the issues with it in Gibbs Lane. You couldn't pay with the LWIG
Right.
up front.
Okay, I think what we need to do on this one is to, table this one until
We can.
some of us go look at and
Like
get
you
some
talked about
roads
earlier.
that priorities, some needs it,
For resurfacing, yes, sir. I'm good with that.
ones that needs it the worst.
And this will be for resurfacing.
Resurfacing only.
Yeah.
Yeah, just research.
I'll agree with that.
LMIG,
Need to get, we need to get a list of what.
get a list
Yeah.
of some roads.
And I think it's one.
How much money we got?
I wanna think it's 1.219,
1.2, okay.
so,
That's why I wanted to find out from her this morning, how much do we have, because,
right.
you know,
We'll get a list of the roads then.
Okay,
Okay.
that works, I'm good with that.
All right, everybody okay with that?
yes,
I'm good.
All right. That's all. Manager's comment?
All right, I got a couple of things, just going back with the, debris pickup. Their plan is to be through, everybody's supposed to have everything out that's gonna be picked up because they're on their last sweep, so whatever's out there is what they're gonna get. They hope to have all of that picked up by December 21st. They are in the process of cleaning up the I call it the dump site, but you know, where they've taken the stuff and ground it up so that they'll have just the one that's located at the animal shelter. That'll be the only one left to do the grinding and hauling away. They will close for the Christmas holidays, because like he said, some of these guys have been out all year. They've been away from home all year, so they will close and be gone like from December 22nd through, they'll come back on January the 3rd. We also, Jonathan let me know, we got an extension on that 100% reimbursement by FEMA. So it looks like what they do after, I think they'll be through within a week or two when they come back January 3rd, so it'll all be 100% reimbursable by FEMA,
Okay.
all that we spend. Also, at this time, they've got just over around 420 cubic yards of debris is what's been collected so far. So, and the.
Hey, have they, when, are they gonna be through with the, county roads too?
That's
Picking
what
up
they're
all the
working on
trees
now.
out of the road
They're out,
ditches?
they're outside of the, what they call the urban band, and they're going back out into the county to get all that that's left. The stumps, the whatever's there that they're supposed to be picking up out of people's, the right of way right there at the edge of their properties.
What about some of these roads you go by where trees are just, I mean, they're within an inch or two of being on the county right of way, but they're leaning. And they might be hanging on a branch or two of another tree. And they're leaning toward the road.
Well, they had a crew that went out, I forget, they called that the tree crew, I think.
Leaners and hangers.
They got the leaners and hangers is what they called them. If they knew about it, if it was leaning and they saw it, they were cutting and taking care of that.
Okay.
So I don't know what may have started leaning since then, but I'm pretty sure that crew is gone, and now they have the cutting crew that they said they were having to. There were some stuff where at the edge of your yard, you were cleaning up your yard, you would put it the right of way, but you get with some of these areas where it's just wooded, there was stuff, and they were having to cut and move some of that, and that took like 2 or 3 steps. They would cut it, kind of move it to the edge, and then move it to a right of way where it could be picked up. But that's pretty much it on that.
Larry, they about got them all out the dirt roads? The dirt roads has still got a lot of trees in them, the ditches.
Mainly limbs and stuff, there's a few that I called him about today, you know, but they're, like I said, she said they're concentrating on the county areas now, and on the rural dirt roads, a lot of the dead end roads, you know, that haven't hit hard, and they're really concentrating on those now. So, but, you know, it's
I know they ain't been
a
out
It's
our
gonna be
way.
a job for keeping limbs out of ditches.
Yeah, there's a lot of trees laying in the ditches, right there around where I live, the old tree.
Well, if you got a
Grader can't go down, I mean, you can't pull the ditches. I've seen several of them in the road ditches.
They still got.
They still got a lot to do yet.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
still
they-
working, yeah. And
Yeah,
they're
they need to
hoping
be,
because
they
they're
need to be cautioned about that, too, about those, if they, I mean, somebody's gonna have to get them out of there.
Yeah,
Before the graders can pull the ditches.
and he's aware. They're back out into the edge of the county now, so that's what they're focused on. They don't have to worry about anything in the city or that urban band.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing now. And if you got a specific something, let me know, and we'll look at it.
So if we know of some places that they haven't picked up, let you know?
Well, they're not taking names, like for people that, oh, we wanna put something out, but if it's something that looks like it's just never been back by and been picked up,
Yeah, there's 2 places on Central they've never been to.
okay, let me know about that and see
Okay.
if that's something that's theirs and see, cause they have to look at, is there a reason why? Is there like a wire or something
Okay.
like that? So,
Okay.
the only other thing I've got, Jason, if you'll come up here. The eggs and issues that they do every year, we got a little conflict and I'm gonna let him explain what it is and then tell you the night that you need to be there is the night of our first regular meeting in January, and we're gonna see if we could maybe change that date up, maybe a couple of days, but you take it from here.
All right, thank you, Linda. So, good evening, Commissioners. The 2025 Eggs and Issues begins on Monday, January the 13th, with a kickoff like we did last year in conjunction with Douglas and Coffee County, where we all meet, we greet all of our state legislators and partners from the different agencies, whether it's CSX, Georgia Power, things like that, in Atlanta. And then the next morning, we're at the World Congress Center at 6:30 a.m. for the kickoff of the 2025 legislative event, or legislative year. And this is where you hear about the different priorities that legislation is going to be taking on from the governor, Speaker of the House, and several representatives. So it's important that we get a good representation from the city, the county, and all of our partnering agencies like the Board of Education. I did secure a room block, which gives us a set of rooms for much less than what you're normally going to be paying. So the 2 tables that we've got for our groups will be able to enjoy that room block. I'll entertain any questions.
And our issue is, like he was talking about the night before, where we can physically walk up there, you, whomever, and speak with the state representatives that represent us. I mean, you'll have some face-to-face contact, but that's the same night as the meeting here, and that really is kind of to me, a very important thing that we need the local commission to be up there. You went last year, so you know about it.
I know, it's a
So
very
if
good
there's
thing.
any way we could scoot this meeting date like forward a couple of days so that we can attend that, because that would be a missed opportunity if we didn't take advantage of it, to get in the ear of those that can help us.
Okay.
Last year, we had a delegation of about 30 or 35 page, I believe, or Laura. But we were well represented for the first time in a very long time, and it was noticed.
And I think we need to go back at least with that much or more this time.
Mm-hmm.
What were those dates again?
January the 13th, that evening is when you would be, where is it at the,
It's at the, we're going to be staying at the Reverb downtown Atlanta, because the actual event is at the World Congress Center, which is about a half-mile away. So we try to get a location that's very close and also cost-effective, since we're publicly funded.
And so that's the 13th. At what time would that first event be?
Check-in is at 3 p.m. The event that evening is at 7 p.m.
Okay, so Monday would be the travel day.
Travel day.
Travel,
then
and that night.
we'll meet at that evening.
Monday night is the biggest event, where you can meet and greet with those representatives with the state level.
Okay. Any more?
Need to go,
So,
Need to go?
need to go.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Any more?
that's all I've got.
Any commission comment?
I got one question for the manager. We received a letter from DOT concerning replacing the bridge on US 1 in Jamestown. And also they're going to build a roundabout at the
Right.
intersection of US 1 and Jamestown Road.
Right.
Right, right.
I'm just curious, have they got far enough along to schedule a public meeting, we usually have the Jamestown Baptist.
Right, no,
But
not
That
yet.
definitely needs to
And
be done, let everybody know that that place is gonna change completely out there.
and I know it was mentioned when we had the public hearing last year, whenever the, CSX came out here talking about closing those 3 crossings on 9 Avenue. It was mentioned then, and I know there were a couple of citizens here then that were a little skeptical of the idea. But I know they have mentioned it, and I thought I would try to call the guy, since we've got the letter,
Right.
maybe a contact name, and see about getting something set up, like a neighborhood meeting,
Right, yeah,
community meeting.
that's important.
Okay,
And that
any more?
project on Jamestown, that's the DOT, I mean, we don't really have a say
Yeah,
so
we
in
don't.
that.
Yeah, we don't have a say-so, but it's
Right.
just to let them know what's up.
DOT doing that.
Where it splits, like where the old theater is, putting a roundabout there, and where you, I think when you're going, I guess, out of Waycross, going towards Alma, the traffic going out of town goes straight on, but if somebody's coming down the Jamestown Highway, they've kinda got to go over to the side and stop and wait on those that are coming in on US 1, and it would just turn that into that circular. I know that some people have trouble driving
I
through.
never could navigate those roundabouts.
That's gonna be a bad idea coming out of that curve right there when you got so
Never
much
could.
traffic
Okay.
coming into town and then put a roundabout right there. That's a bad idea.
Well, talk to GDOT, I didn't come up
That
with
ain't got
it.
nothing to do with us.
We'll tell them the chairman did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I've had a rumor that they're gonna close the crossings out on Night Avenue.
They
Is
have,
that, did they ask to
The
be
three-
closed yet?
The 3 that they talked to us about
The 3?
closing,
I've not heard anything else about that, other than just where they're going through replacing the crossings of the,
Yeah.
timbers and
No,
cleaning.
this is, they're planning, have you heard anything on it, Jerry, anymore?
I since we had that meeting up here.
Yeah, they've not
I
heard.
heard that
I
they,
heard that after-
coming, they gonna try to close those crossings.
They got to have another hearing though,
Well,
don't
that's what I'm about to say.
I don't know.
Well, could they just go in and close those crossings?
they own the property.
They can, they get their property, but,
It's their property.
it's left up to the people, they'll
they? They
have to
were
fight it.
supposed to
It'll
be
for the people.
looking at some newer numbers about
think we can do that.
crossing. Well, if you get enough public uproar, you might could, but.
Yeah,
Not when they pay 2.8 million.
we're gonna
in
ask for
taxes.
an overpass, they need to, the railroad needs to pay some on it.
Exactly, because I can tell you where they've had those closed the other day. I wasn't thinking.
That's just closed for
Trying to head
repair,
home that
like,
way, I
yeah,
had to turn
yeah,
around and
way
come
down.
back. It's very
They gonna
inconvenient
close.
Oh,
to
yeah.
have them all closed.
It is, it is.
Very inconvenient.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I just like to say a couple of things. First of all, to our interim manager, I think she's been doing a yeoman's job, trying to navigate and get through all the things, till we get a manager. So I just want to let her know I appreciate what she's been doing, and Melissa working alongside her. And also, in our county news, I was reading it and saw where we had someone that interpreted the county seal, which is Melinda Brooks. And so that, she made the paper about that, where she interpreted the seal, the county seal. And
I don't know
said-
anything about it. Is that in NACO?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
yeah, well, it's in there, so you made the paper.
I
And,
think they asked for an explanation of our county seal, why it had on it, what it had on it, and just explains what those items were and what they meant to our county, was all that was. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
well, you did a good job with it.
Oh, thank you. I
Tell
haven't
them what
seen
it
it.
represents. And I think you also had a birthday, last week or Sunday or something like that?
Yesterday,
Okay,
Happy birthday.
okay.
39 and older or 29?
29 and a half.
You know they don't get over 29, Timmy, you know that.
do that, 29.
But anyway, I just want to say that.
Okay,
And we thank y'all, thank Melissa, and we definitely thank our county attorney for keeping us all straight.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
She tries to keep us out of trouble.
So it's hard for some of us to stay out of trouble.
Thank all y'all. Is any more commission comment?
I don't.
I don't have anything.
Okay. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Come back, let's see, what time?
17.
5:30?
Stove up.
Well, we got that public hearing.
Yeah.
What time that public hearing?
4:30.
Oh, the public hearing was
about-
supposed to start at 4:30? Public hearing was supposed to start
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Melinda, take 10 minutes. we gonna, this is a Ware County Board of Commission public hearing for Monday, December the 9th at 4:30 PM. Okay, on this, we've done pledged and had a prayer, so we'll skip all that. And,
Roll call.
let's do a roll call. Mr. Burris.
Present.
Mr. Pope.
Present.
Mr. Lucas.
Present.
Mr. Hendricks. You're not here. Chair's here. Okay. All right, this is, general request for rezoning is, James here? You got it. This is a request to rezone property located at the intersection of Dorothy Street and East Blackshear Avenue. Currently part of partial 051A045059. We're gonna go from R75 mobile home residential mobile homes district to C1 neighborhood commercial district. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a request by Terramore Development LLC to rezone approximately 3.623 acres on Blackshear Avenue. It begins at the corner of Blackshear Avenue and Dorothy Street
Dorothy.
and extends westward. Consumes about 3.6 acres. The purpose for the rezoning is to allow the developer to locate a 10,640 square feet retail business, which will be a Dollar General. The adjacent surrounding land use and zoning to the north is R75MH, CN Conservation, R90 and R50 in the city of Waycross. And in the city of Waycross is R90 and M Medical, with most residential uses and vacant property to the north. South of the city of Waycross, the city of Waycross is across the street, East Blackshear Avenue, and is mostly residential uses in R75 and medical zoning. To the east of the city of Waycross, across the street, Dorothy Street, and mostly residential uses and Center Elementary School. And the zoning there is R75, medical, R90, and C1. To the west is R75MH, which is houses and apartment complexes, and then R50MH, which is houses. The major street plan shows the transportation plan shows East Blackshear as a principal arterial street, and Dorothy south of East Blackshear is shown as a collector street, while north of East Blackshear is shown as a minor street. I will say that probably will be redone when the transportation study gets back. The reason Blackshear Avenue, East Blackshear Avenue is labeled as a principal arterial is because for many years it was designated to be an interloop, four-lane interloop. I think that's kind of gone away. I'm not sure yet. And then I think the designation of Dorothy Street will actually change the collector from Wakeona all the way into Tebow and all the way it switches to Riverside. But we'll get that back. We'll get the transportation plan. Future land use plan, the character area shows the plan as urban fringe, which is gonna be a mixture of commercial and residential. In the zoning history past, the site was initially zoned R50 residential and zoned R90 residential and then rezoned to R75MH in August of 1986. The applicable regulations, the R75MH will allow residential uses while the C1 allows retail commercial uses. Generally speaking, the C1 allows commercial uses that are residential friendly. Public utilities, the applicant plans to have public sewer and water from Satilla Regional Water and Sewer Authority. The public services, fire protection is from the fire station located on Harris Road, and police is available from the sheriff's office on Harris Road. Physical characteristics, site is generally flat with a slight slope to the east towards the drainage canals, and wetlands located along the eastern part of the property near Dorothy Street. If you look at the property, all that property is located on Dorothy, the east or west side of Dorothy. I forget the distance, but a lot of that is wetlands there, so they'll have a wetland buffer there. on that side of Dorothy. Also, the regulations will require the developer will have to put a privacy fence on the west side of the property. They'll have to go all the way to the back corner of the property and then cut and run along the rear, all the way back to the wetland line is the privacy fence. And of course, the wetlands they can't disturb.
Now, the wetlands you talking about there, that's Kettle Creek, ain't it?
No, sir, that's that canal drainage.
That canal drainage?
Dorothy. So, and then it extends, there's like a bowl in there.
Right.
So, attached to the adopted rezoning are the adopted rezoning standards. And those, the proposed amendment will permit use that's suitable in view of the nearby property. You can say yes on that one. C1 neighborhood commercial accepted for use in areas of character area of urban fringe. Also, you could say no because of the residential area in there. However, the C1 neighborhood commercial district is designed to be residential friendly. Now, will it be residential friendly in every aspect? There's no way, but it's designed to be less adverse impacts on residential. If that proposed amendment would adversely affect the existing use or usability of adjacent nearby property, no. Currently, the property is mostly vacant and initially been planned to be developed for residential purposes, but small retail commercial will be fitting use within the urban fringe. And then 3, the property affected by the proposed amendment has a reasonable economic use that's currently zoned. Yes, it can be developed with residential uses. 4, the proposed amendment would result in a use that would or could be causing excessive burdensome use of existing streets, transportation facilities, utilities, or schools. And that could be yes and no. And, Blackshear Avenue, Dorothy already has a high traffic count, relatively speaking. But the concern there is semi-traffic, is deliveries to the stores, getting them through that neighborhood, so to speak.
All those.
Yeah, 'cause I think them roads there is no trucks allowed, eh?
Yeah, Dorothy and Blackshear is no trucks allowed on the east side of Blackshear and on Dorothy from.
So if you go through that, I believe when you say no trucks allowed, you're talking about through trucks.
Through trucks.
Then usually the weight limit don't really refer back or reflect to, trucks making deliveries. It's trucks going through the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I don't know.
Yep.
So, and
But
then
I
proposed
used to
amendment
haul
would-
equipment in and out, as long as I was going to my job, I couldn't do
That's
nothing.
different, you were building roads.
Yeah, but I'd be clearing lots and hauling dirt,
I don't really think so.
Yeah, so you got the convenience store on
They go
Blackshear
on
Avenue, where the people, the trucks deliver to. Number 5, proposed amendment is conformed with the policy and intent of the plan, yes.
Darling.
6, are the other conditions affecting use, no. The planning commission heard this request, and what they weighed was the pro of having a place where neighborhoods can walk to and get groceries. And then also was the con was the traffic. And then after deliberating and discussing that, they made a motion to approve recommended approval of the rezoning request. And that motion was a vote of 4-3, 4 for it and 3 against it.
Have they, not the planning and codes, but the people that want to do the Dollar General here, have they actually went and sat in the morning and in the afternoon at 2:30 to 3:15 and looked at that traffic?
I'm not sure they're here, though they can answer that.
Okay.
And also, I would say, and I don't know if it's included in part of your,
They look at the
your
population.
report, but I know they did provide to the planning commission a turning radiuses for trucks, because that was a concern. And they had that, turner's radiuses designed for, off an engineering firm that shows that they can make those turns at those intersections.
Did the planning commission recommend any stipulations for the approval?
They did not.
None?
Will there be a retention pond on
They do.
Always.
They design all those.
it? They got their retention pond.
And it'll discharge into the wetlands.
And that'll be good for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, when you mentioned about the weight limit, and I believe it's I know within the city, they have roads that have like no trucks allowed over a certain amount, you know, as far as the weight part of it, you know, and, so I think that's what maybe Commissioner Lucas was talking about, you know, for the weight limit. But also, in addition to the concern that the planning commission had, you know, I've had, few people, you know, didn't think this would really be a good thing right here in this location. Not that it's not a good thing, but in that particular location right there, you know, and it's like anything else, you know, you can have something that can be good, but maybe not for this particular area or whatever. And, I'm glad you cleared up one thing, because you did say the vote was 4-3 on it, because in the information that we got in my packet when I was receiving it, said it was a unanimous vote to approve.
Oh, so I was a typo.
Yeah, so
It was
that's,
4-3.
yeah, and that's why I was wanting to make sure that maybe I misunderstood something.
I
Because,
went back and looked at the minutes earlier, it was 4-3.
okay, and like I said, right now the property is vacant, and I have heard rumors about, you know, development going in that area, because right now that's what we liking, you know, especially, and that's, even though that's in the county right there, it's pretty much borders with the city, you know, as far as housing developments and stuff.
So you
And
got
I think we
Hazel.
need to think about that, because my thing would be, when you put something like that, whether it be a Dollar General or whatever it may be, if it's something in retail, that's could be a deterrent sometime for people to choose to build, you know, in proximity to that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're saying a deterrent for people to build, but then I would, you know, not argue for it or arguing against it, but then I would ask you to look at, Dollar General on State Street, where since that Dollar General was built, how many houses have been built behind it?
Yeah, but the
The one right
thing
next to
was,
Waco?
whenever the houses were being built before the Dollar General got there.
And you don't, you know, and I'll
Not
say
all of them, but-
on that, you know, same people build the houses there as the ones that built the houses in the neighborhood that I'm in, right down there on Waco. And I know, you know, you're good friends with him, he's a good guy. But I've heard a lot of people say good things. You know, I'm so glad this Dollar General come in here, because I ain't gotta go, you know, all the way out to US
What I
One
look at.
South, you know, this, that, and the other. And especially like, you know, where the chief lives, you know, out in Wasboro. He was tickled pink when that Dollar General opened up right down the road from Rouse's right there. You know, he was tickled pink, especially when he had them two little girls, which are now at college.
Just
But back
specify
then,
Chief Cox.
Chief Cox, yeah. Not your chief, but, you know, Chief Cox of the city. And he was tickled pink when that Dollar General opened up there, because it saved him a lot of mileage.
And that's why I want to again reiterate that certain things in certain places are good for that area, but it doesn't always be a good fit for every
Not for all
community.
areas, yeah.
And that's why the commission has a hard job of
Right.
weighing those pros and cons. But I do know that the developer are here and the engineers are here. And whether they want to speak in favor for it or.
I've got one more question.
Okay.
Did the planning commission give any weight to the proximity to the nursing home and the elementary school right there?
That was part of the discussion, was the school traffic, at 3:00. That was part of their concerns. So it wasn't necessarily a nursing home, but it was the school traffic.
That school traffic is terrible.
So that was their concern, one of their concerns, that and then semi-traffic.
So they took that in consideration.
They did.
Hour.
It concerns me a lot, the location and the residential.
Right.
Yep.
And I'll let, or ask the Dollar, Terramore Development, they can explain on their marketing strategies more than I can. But I think that if you look at the plan for the Dollar General markets or Dollar General stores, that is, the ideal is to locate near residential. If you go back to, ever since we've been doing a comprehensive plan, the ideal is to have shopping areas near residential, to have sidewalks for people to walk to shop. That's been in almost every plan that we've ever done. So, and it's not just today's world, it's been like that, and it's been working up. As a matter of fact, there used to be I won't say credits, but it used to have some programs the state used to do if you would do that and put in sidewalks, to your shopping areas, so,
They gonna put one in?
I don't know. It's
Well, I
up
mean,
there.
there's one across the street on the elementary school side, but there's not one on this side.
They may be willing to put one in, I don't know.
I mean, put it in from Tebow all the way down to Wakeholma?
So, but no, I mean, that's been an initiative from the state, is to provide, areas close to residential for shopping. Yeah, it all
Okay.
goes to green government, green living style, so.
Gotcha.
Okay, everybody that support this, anybody here that supports it, that,
Anybody here don't support it?
have we got anybody oppose it?
We're here to present the application.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've asked for support, so y'all support it.
Y'all can all come up together. If y'all want to.
Jeff, do you mind pass these up to you?
Go ahead, be fine. Is this the one up there on Albany?
That's a rendering of the proposed project.
Oh, okay.
This proposal,
Yes, sir. Your attorney has a copy as well.
did you give them a copy? They got a copy?
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Jason Kemp. I'm with Burchett Kemp, and I represent Terramore Development. And Terramore Development has a team of folks behind me, much smarter than me, here to answer technical questions. And some of the things that you've already mentioned, they're going to have some answers for you. But if I may step you through the packet real quick. The first page you see is a rendering of the proposed project. So this is the facade as it's planned. And you'll note that the facade is perhaps different than some of the Dollar Generals that you've seen before. And that's because it's going to be in urban fringe. It's going to be around residential properties. So because of that, they want to make the facade look nice. The second document is the proposed site plan. And that is just basic. It has no traffic on it. It has no other indicators other than the site plan. Something I think that you all will be interested in is the third document. This is the auto turn CAD that was referred to. This shows how the trucks will be able to ingress and egress the property. And it shows the actual route that's going to be taken. So I know there was some concern that some of these trucks would be north of the intersection of Dorothy and Blackshear. That's not the case. It'll come from the south. And as you can see, the current infrastructure supports these delivery trucks. And this AutoCAD is actually on the conservative side. So if it shows that it can make the turn on this diagram, it's a very conservative estimate. So you see no issues with the ingress and egress there with auto turn CAD. And if you look at the final page, you'll see a green track. What's important about this is, I know there's concern about the traffic generally. The delivery trucks are going to be able to turn directly into the property, and they'll be able to do all their turning around, repositioning on the property. So there won't be any blocking of traffic in order to back a tractor trailer in. And it's also important to note that the deliveries are once a week. And these are the trucks that you're probably already seeing around town delivering to the other Dollar Generals. This would just be another stop along the way. So please feel free to continue thumbing through that as we continue. As you heard, it is a request to go from R75 MH to C1. C1 would be an appropriate zoning classification for the Dollar General as a retail store. It's also consistent with the future land use, as you heard, as urban fringe. There's a couple of benefits to this rezoning if approved. One is the ad valorem tax increase that's going to result as the improvement of the property.
Also, sales tax receipts, which are right now estimated to be about $85,000 annually. Again, the current infrastructure is suitable for it, both roadways and utilities already set up. Nothing's going to have to be overhauled in that regard. And we believe that this is going to be a beneficial project for the community. As it was mentioned, there are residentially zoned properties around this site, which folks could drive or walk to the site. Terramore Development already has approved in their plans a sidewalk, so that's something that they're already anticipating. Also to note, Dollar General, a couple of things. One is from headquarters, they've just approved over $200 million to infuse into their stores to keep high-quality labor. That's a concern that everybody's had since COVID, is keeping a store fully staffed and fully staffed with qualified, capable people. So from headquarters, they are infusing hundreds of millions of dollars into their Georgia stores in order to make sure that they can properly staff all of their stores. Also, they have donated extensively, hundreds of millions of dollars to literacy and scholarships as well as criminal justice reform activities. So, final thing to note on jobs before I turn it over to the really smart guys that know all the technical information is that the jobs that Dollar General proposes, right now we're looking at between 8 to 15 for this one store. 70% of their employees that are above the sales associate role are staffed and promoted from within. So it's not that they're bringing in people from the outside. It is the Dollar General's desire to promote from within the company. So all of the legal requirements have been satisfied, the prerequisites for rezoning. We think it's an appropriate classification for this project, and again, see the benefit to the community. So if I may turn it over to the technical team, if you have any questions for them, or if you guys want to add anything.
Y'all got any questions?
Chairman, Chair. My name is Tyler Graybill with Terramore Development. We have David Newbauer, both of us work in real estate, and Pete Schoenauer is our civil engineer. We're happy to answer any questions. We're very excited about this project. One thing I will add to the comments is obviously there's concern about the trucks. The semi-delivery that goes in and out of the store just by itself, it will only deliver to the store once a week. Normally, I think in our head we consider these semis, flying around, but they only go to the stores once a week. So just keep that in mind as well. But we're here to answer any questions.
You mentioned that sidewalk. Are y'all gonna install that sidewalk all the way down that property?
I believe we're required by code, and James.
It's code, is it?
We're required by code to install.
Are they required to put that sidewalk all the way down through there
We don't have a law
in the site?
that requires them to put a sidewalk.
Well, we have it in our budget to put sidewalks in front of our property. So maybe it's in the long-term plan for you to install sidewalks.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They'll put it in. I believe that's okay. Any more?
What time are these truck deliveries? Because when I say, I live right around the corner, live down there off of Way Corner. And and I'm just being real with you here, if one of your trucks go down and they take a left when they leave the store parking lot instead of going right, the only way they can go is right or left on Way Corner. If you go right, you go straight down the hill into a subdivision. It's gonna take you an hour and a half to get out of. And then if you go left, you're gonna be on Way Corner Avenue, which is a 2-lane road, which between the hours of 6:30 and 8 o'clock is gridlock. I mean, I'm serious, it's literally gridlock, especially if there's a train on the track. If there's a train on the track, your truck driver's stuck for 3 hours.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because the times I've been around here and around that store, I did get caught at the train. My best answer to that is, as a company whose main goal is to make money off operating and selling goods, this store would be incorporated to drop-offs, right? So they would want to make sure to avoid any congestion, because it's not
And see, that's elementary school too, so they let out at 2:30. So parents are lining up, and you got parents, they're waiting down both four-way stops. You know, north, south, and east, west.
There might be weekend deliveries as well.
Oh, okay,
So,
all right. That does help there.
Chairman, may I add?
Yeah.
Another thing to note, and you may have just observed this in your life, Dollar General is not usually a high-traffic store throughout the day. Their peak hour is usually between 5 and 6 when folks are getting off work. And so, and that's not to say that it's going to be a flood. You might see 6 or so cars at that point. So I understand that congestion could be a concern, especially with the school there when the school lets out. But the prime time for Dollar General's business is going to be between 5 and 6, and we're talking maybe 6 cars or so. It is definitely a store that you might see 1 or 2 cars in throughout the entire day at a given time. If I'm characterizing that correctly.
yeah, and to like embellish on that a little bit, you may have 75 shoppers in a peak hour. 75 cars come in and out, but I think we all know with Dollar Generals, even with the capacity to sell grocery, people generally shop for, 1 to 15 items, stay 5 to 15 minutes. That's a really good business model with us, and a lot of the times we can put our parking down to 28 spaces, literally because you drive by Dollar General at any given time, there's 6 cars in the parking lot. People want to get in and out, and it doesn't really cater to heavy volume like Walmart does.
Okay. Any more questions? Any more from y'all?
And this just a regular Dollar General or Dollar General Market?
Dollar General.
So this
Regular Dollar General.
This store is a $10,640 Dollar General Plus store. This Dollar General is not currently a market store, but Dollar General's, any new Dollar General moving forward has the ability to have grocery and meat. We have not received a fixture plan on this one, but they have the ability also to take in and put in at any point in time roll-in coolers for fresh produce and meat. So basically what Dollar General is saying is with this prototype, if the, I have the exact prototype next to my house, and it actually didn't start with produce, but because it's almost the exact type of situation, they rolled in coolers, and then the market and the produce is doing very good. So this store will have the option to do it. I cannot tell you if that is at inception or after the fact, but it will have the ability to.
Okay. Any more? Okay. Have anybody oppose it? Okay, we need to vote on it?
We'll wait
That-
till the
put
regular
it
meeting.
in the-
This is
in the
just
meeting.
public hearing portion.
Okay, let's carry it over. Nobody opposed it? Okay. I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
Here.
moved, Chair.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting adjourned. Now we're gonna go back into the regular meeting. You got one?
Put a new one over there.
Yeah. I got one. Okay. I'm gonna do a roll call, make sure we all in. Mr. Burson?
Present.
Mr. Pope?
Present.
Mr. Lucas?
Here.
Mr. Hendrick? Chair's here. Okay. A, the resolution 2024-34, delegating authority to the tax commissioner to waive penalties and interest.
Chairman, I offer motion that we approve resolution 2024-34, delegating authority to the tax commissioner to waive penalties and interest.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Let's vote on it. Mr. Burson?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Henry? Chair votes aye. Okay. B, resolution for 2024-35, authority for tax commissioner to accept payments of taxes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept resolution 2024-35, giving the tax commissioner authority to accept payments of taxes in Waycross and Wake County.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope? Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks? Chair votes aye. Okay. C, appointment for the Waycross Ware County Land Bank Authority.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we appoint Mr. Reverend William Simmons, to the Waycross Ware County Land Bank Authority.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? If not, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks? The chair vote aye. Okay. D, alcohol license application. Okay, your
That's
motion.
the one for the Albany Avenue and Millwood.
Yeah.
That's Huey's, yeah.
The old
Huey's.
Huey store.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept this alcohol license application as tendered and presented by Chief Schubert out in Millwood. It's the 820 Bowens Mill Road. No, that's where she lives at.
8471.
Yeah.
Or 4741.
Yeah, 7471 Albany Avenue, Millwood, Georgia, 31552.
Right, okay.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that license?
Now, I believe this will be for
That's just for that store, the old,
beer.
Huey's.
Is that correct?
Right.
Alcohol and beer, or just beer? Wine
Wine
and
and
beer.
beer. Okay. All right, ain't no more discussion on it, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Ms. Hendricks? Chair votes aye. Okay. Downtown Waycross Development Authority Splash Disbursement Intergovernmental Agreement.
Chairman, I move we accept, approve the intergovernmental agreement between Downtown Waycross Development Authority and Ware County Commission for the use and distribution of proceeds from the November 8, 2022 SPLOST referendum.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion on it? No, let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lucas?
Aye.
Mr. Hendricks? Chair votes aye. All right. Now we got a rezoning request for the intersection of Dorothy Street, East Blackshire Avenue, partial 051A 04059. Okay? I hear a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna recuse myself from voting here because I own property that is directly touching this property. So I'm gonna recuse myself from voting on that.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question for the attorney. Okay, with him having a property that's touching it, I mean, I'm just trying to find out that, can you,
Certainly, so, and I don't have the, Ware County Code in front of me as far as conflicts, but generally, if a commissioner has a financial conflict, with it, and the Zoning Procedures Act, of course, outlines specifically what that was, and I was not aware of that issue, or else I would have pulled it, so we'd have the
I'm just
exact
trying-
language tonight, but if the property does touch, then I believe, that would be a warranted financial conflict, which would then warrant, his recusal. If I had known that, I candidly would have asked him to recuse, from the entire discussion, yeah.
That's what, and you own property that touches this property?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's my family that they bought the property from. Miss June is actually my family. And the property that I own, my family used to own that whole area. I mean, even the people that live on the other side of Miss June is my family. Miss June's my
Do you
family.
oppose it being put there?
I think that would be inappropriate,
But that
and
would be
Chairman,
up-
yeah.
Yeah,
it-
because see,
Wouldn't that be?
Yeah.
it really shouldn't even been in the discussion phase
Yeah.
of it, you know?
That's right. All right.
So I think it is proper for him to abstain. If the commissioner is stating that he owns property that touches this property, then I think that's proper to abstain from the vote, certainly.
And it touches it. I mean, if they pull it back up, I'll show you right where my property is.
Okay, just one question, I'm just trying to get clarity, Commissioner. So, do you own the property or does your family own the property? Okay,
It's in my name.
okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion for the rezoning?
Mr. Chairman, due to the, location with a school and, the traffic problems there, I move that the request be denied.
Excuse us. Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, Chairman, but given, we didn't know about the conflict, but given that that's the case, may we seek tabling so we can kind of go through the right process?
I candidly think that would be appropriate,
Yeah.
gentlemen, and I apologize to you all. I did not know either, or else he would not have participated in the discussion. So if in fact, does it in fact touch the property that's under consideration? I think it would be proper to, at that request, table it. And, we have had the public hearing stands, and, you know, we'll have to determine what would be appropriate in those circumstances, but I think, any participation in the discussion, if there is a financial, potential interest under the Zoning Procedures Act, and then also under, the local language of your code should be prevented.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my motion.
So gentlemen, what I recommend at this time is, you know, we, this is a little bit of an unusual circumstance, candidly. And so I think what we need to do is, if you will allow me, as county attorney, and then also Mr. Kemp as Terramore's attorney, to just research the Zoning Procedures Act and determine what is an appropriate course of action in this scenario. And then we will come back to you with, you know, a recommended plan of action on that. But likely, I assume this would be added back for consideration at a future meeting,
Okay.
with maybe some caveats or provisions related thereoto.
Okay, at the time, then I'll ask for a motion to table it until we hear from the attorneys.
So we need to table it now, don't we?
Yeah, he just said a motion.
I
Yeah.
just asked for a motion
Ask for a
to
motion.
table
Second,
it.
second that motion.
He needs a motion.
No, I asked for a motion to table.
He's asking for a motion.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I
Chairman,
move
I
that
make-
the rezoning request be tabled to another meeting.
Okay, got a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Okay, let's table it. Let's vote on it. Mr. Burris?
Aye.
Mr. Pope?
Aye.
Mr. Lewis? You can't vote. And the chair vote aye. Okay.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may, and maybe, attorney, because something on the Robert's Rules of Order I'm kind of confused on. Whenever you make a motion to table, do you have to really vote on that, or?
You do have to formally, so under Robert's Rules of Order, you know, a matter is before you all, it is on the agenda, and so to take action on tabling it or moving it to the next meeting, it should properly be voted on to be tabled.
Okay.
Now, I've always wondered if there is a stalemate in a situation like this. Normally, of course, we have where there would be a tiebreaker, like a 3-2 vote. But if there was a situation where there was a 2-2 vote and no action was to be taken and people couldn't even agree to, you know, table it, I think there is some historic Robert's Rules of Order law that really candidly, I'm not familiar with, and I'm not sure that anybody uses anymore. But I think at that point, you probably would just let the issue die for that evening and then, and move on. But the proper way is to table it.
Pretty much like if you get just like if you chairman asks for a motion and can't get a motion, then the whole thing dies for lack
That's
of
right.
motion, or it dies for lack of a second.
That can also be the case, that's right. But like I said, I candidly, I've not had this particular situation come up, and so I will add that to the top of my list, and we will determine what is appropriate course of action in light of it.
Okay. And I guess, like I say, and we didn't know this here, but if we have a situation like that where we need to go and state that up front.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
guess we should state that on our own, that
Yeah.
we own property by it or have a conflict.
Yeah, I should have said it first, but I didn't.
Okay,
I apologize for that.
all right. You got any manager's comment?
I just want to remind everybody that this is the weekend of the bicentennial for Ware County, being, 200 years old. I have put a list of all of the events that will be happening, but I have been asked to request the presence of as many commission members or commissioners as we can get. Sunday, there will be a proclamation, I guess, from the governor that I believe it's Buddy Carter will be bringing to present. And we would like to get as many members of our county commission up
That will
here
be
to
Sunday.
present. That will be Sunday at, I believe at 2. Because they'll cut the cake and have this, they'll introduce state, county, and city officials. They'll have that cake, and then they're gonna give that proclamation from the governor. Because, their county's older than us, but there's a lot that are, 200 years is a big deal, so they would like to have everybody there that they can get. This will be at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
I think they wanted a commissioner there to accept that proclamation.
Any,
They want all of you there if you would go.
I'll be out of
To
town.
represent.
any more comment?
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay.
Hold on.
All right, one comment I have is, on, I think would be the 30th. I'd like to set up a call meeting for the commission and I'd like for all the commissioners to have the, resumes on
They will.
for the county manager.
As of
And we
now.
want to call a meeting at 10 o'clock, will that be out?
10 a.m.
10 o'clock on the 30th to hire a county manager.
That's the 30th?
On the 30th,
It's on a
10, can
Monday.
y'all be here?
It's on a
Yeah, I'll be
Monday.
here.
Check my calendar, I don't know, but now, when you say, all right, when the application period ends,
Our time will
It
be up
ends
to,
Sunday, and then we've already got a packet with the applications that have come in as of last Friday, wasn't it, Chairman, that you got them? As of last Friday morning. So anything that comes in between last Friday morning and this Sunday night will be added to what you have. I'll have them put together and get it to you. And then
Okay.
y'all will go through that and select
Nothing
Miss
after
Teresa
Friday,
should
right?
get you a package.
nothing after
Okay.
15.
so
Yeah.
what will be the process, once Sunday is the deadline, right?
Yes, sir.
So after Sunday, then what we
Any next week, we
individually
can
go
read.
through them, and
Interview
then,
them, look at them.
so
We'll
I'm just trying to find out what's the proper way to do. So once they come in, we go through them and does somebody vet them before they get to us? Are we looking at all of them or what?
Y'all
Looking
can
at
look at
all
all of them, and then we,
I'll-
and decide.
Which one would be our pick, and we each get a pick, I believe. I mean, that's the way we-
And then you decide about interview, because you don't have to interview in an open meeting. You can.
Council, do we really have to interview every one of them, or can we just?
No, sir, you
Right.
certainly don't have to interview every one of them. So I think what I'll say is let me say what's required and then what would be a recommended practice or best practice. What is required is if you've accepted, and I've provided this by email to Melinda, but we certainly will get a copy to you all, is that 14 days prior to whatever meeting, you know, you make the decision on, you have to name your top 3 applicants. And so, you know, they have to understand and appreciate that it may be that, you know, their application was kept confidential. They may choose not to be named in that top 3 because they may have decided they don't want to notify a current employer. And so, you know, we've got to handle that process. It is not required that you, you know, you're not legally required to interview every single applicant, although it would certainly be, you know, a best practice to interview whatever you determine to be your top applicants, if, you know, if you believe that to be helpful and necessary. So.
And that's why I was asking, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
I mean, I understand, you know, you're saying about look at them, but it's still some steps to take.
We're gonna invite them for an interview.
Right, and then I think too with, or we get these applicants in, I think that Mr. Pope, he's coming off, and Sammy, we're gonna have 2 new commissioners coming on. And I think it would be the wise and prudent thing to at least allow them, because that's who they're gonna have to be working with, that whoever this new manager is. I mean, that's what my thinking is, and that's why I'm saying that, you know, we look at them, we go through them, but then how we get to the final 5 or the final 3, I don't know how that process will work, but once we get to that number, then I think that's what we, as a commission, can interview each one of them. Then we take our tally sheet or whatever, however we do it, and then we go from there. But I think at that time, because we got to remember Christmas coming up right now. You know, we're right on Christmas and holidays, and we got 2 new commissioners coming on. And I think they should be part of that process because they're gonna have to be working with this new manager.
And you also, I believe, you have to give an offer letter, and they have so long to accept it.
Right. So it's not like we can just come in on the 30th and pick somebody that day. I mean, we could, but we're talking about, as the attorney alluded to, best practice and what's the norm.
Well, he just on a 6-month trial anyway, to begin with, is that correct?
I don't know how that is.
6-month probation.
He's on probation for 6 months.
Well, it would be whatever you all negotiate with the person that you're hiring. So, you know, each county has a contract or does not have a contract with, you know, their county manager or county administrator, as it may be. And so they've, you know, there's various terms across the state, you know, just salary, vehicles, you know, guaranteed, you know, payment, I don't know, you know, as far as length of contract and those sorts of things. And so that would certainly be something that you all would want to discuss.
Okay. Let's have the interview on the 30th.
Yeah, but that doesn't have to be in a meeting.
And
correct?
the ones that we decide
Yeah,
on,
gotcha.
get the names together and ask for them to come in and interview them.
So how will we get to the final 5 or final 3?
I would say,
That'd be-
Commissioner Burris, I would say that each one of us pick one person that we think, personally, that we think would be the best pick, and then we'll vote on them 5.
And then we get it narrowed down to the
Get it
3
narrowed
or
down
whatever.
to 3, and then,
Have them to come in, the final 3 or the final 5 to come in.
Right.
And I don't know if we really gonna have enough time between now and the 30th to do that.
What's
Will
the date?
be,
Today is the 9th.
yep, today's the 9th, the next
21
Sunday night is
21
when that
days.
cuts off.
3 weeks?
And
But it's
then
still
you
got
would
the Sunday
have,
before it even cuts
from,
off.
from the time, yeah, you'll get more, but from the time that we cut it off and we get, if there are any more applications to come in, that would be on Sunday, the 15th, and that 2 weeks would be the 30th.
Yeah.
And that's including Christmas Eve and Christmas.
And Mr. Chairman, again, like I said, we're gonna have 2 new commissioners coming on.
Right.
And I would really think that they really should be in that part because that's who they're gonna have to be working with, whether it be he or she, county manager. And then, you know, because Jerry and Sammy won't be here.
Right. Okay.
might be.
We can interview and then we may move to the first of the year to select him.
Well, that's what I'm saying now. you know,
But let's get the show on the road.
yeah, well, I think we're doing it now when we got the process.
Okay.
It just
Got 'em.
takes a little bit.
So just for clarity, the 30 days that you all were advertising closes on December the 15th.
15.
And then we will need some process to narrow the applicants.
Right.
Whatever, is how you all determine that process should be. You could go with Commissioner Lucas's suggestion. You can, create a committee to score the applicants, however you all decide that's appropriate. And then we have to give, the 14-day notice as far as the top 3. And before we produce those names, we would have to, make sure that they in fact desire to still apply. And then we would schedule interviews and discuss terms of employment and go from there.
Which if they all pick one, then that would be 5.
Mhm.
And so they would interview possibly 5 and then
That's right.
3. So,
And I think that,
But I guess, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I did not mean to interrupt you.
ahead.
I wanted to add one further thing is just that if we're interviewing more than 3 on the 30th, then we would not be prepared to make a decision on the 30th because we would need to run the 14 days from there to make sure we don't trip ourselves up on that procedure. So
Right.
procedure-wise, I just want to try and keep us
Okay.
on the straight and narrow there.
well,
but 14 days.
I think we really need to try to get the HR director involved in this process too now, because that's their field of expertise, and they would know certain things that we need to do and we don't need to do, or what we need to be looking for,
I've already
Well,
asked her to disqualify the ones that don't
Right.
qualify.
Okay,
And
well,
she
that-
did that.
Okay.
I
She's
told her, I
done
said,
that,
ain't no
and-
need in bringing all of the names. I said, if they don't qualify, don't even put them on the
Don't
bus.
waste
That's what I'm
But
saying.
she's done took
But
some
as far
off.
as her vetting them for us, I would not be for her vetting them for us.
Yeah,
I would be for her cutting them if they don't meet the qualifications.
Yeah, she-
Minimum qualifications.
she's already doing
But
that.
when it comes to vetting them, I would not, because the county manager works at our pleasure.
Right.
Okay.
Candidly, I mean, I think it would determine on how many applicants you've received. If you have 5 to 10 applicants, probably it would be worth your while you could quickly discern and look through their resume and determine if they have what you're looking for or not. If you have 50 applicants, then it may be, more advantageous to have, a staff person try and cull through and
Right.
some. And I simply don't have a sense at this point, but we can certainly get that information, yeah.
Okay.
I believe it was
20 so far.
20.
3.
That's
And-
20 applicants.
So far. And also, we need to think 15th's on a Monday, on
15th on
Sunday.
Sunday.
So some of those applications we leave on a Monday, we need to accept because they could have been here
Right.
if Sunday would have been a weekday.
Yeah.
So if we receive
And
them
I
on
think
Monday,
everything's been coming online, I'm pretty sure.
okay.
All right.
Is that it? I got 2 things to bring up.
Okay. Is that all? Y'all satisfied with that?
So you gonna let us know what we're doing?
What?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I may mention something on another topic that we talked about earlier in the work session, I did meet with the tax commissioner, Mr. Collins, chief appraiser, Mr. Carter, during the break about the list of homes that were damaged in the storm. And, we went over some various scenarios, and it just was not ready to be presented to you all tonight. But I have asked them both, and I believe Mr. Collins was agreeable to going back and, taking out a few scenarios so that we can provide you all with information so that you can see the actual application of what the decision would be that you're making and have a little more information on that decision. And so I think we'll be prepared to bring that back at whatever your next meeting is, certainly in January.
Okay.
I got a question, Chairman, if that's all right. Did I understand, Tax Commissioner Rogers, did I understand you to say that 70% of our community voted for that bill?
Yeah, it did.
Well, no, we're talking about 2 different
Well, no,
bills.
70% of the people in the state of Georgia.
State
Yeah.
of Georgia.
Okay, all right.
That was for 85, 81 that time.
See, I think if the majority of the people in Ware County voted for it, they didn't know what they were voting for. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we got the best deal now, and we've been told by the reps and the assembly that we've got the best deal now, that what they're offering can't beat it, I don't think our constituents understand that.
Right, but they were voting for other counties, it's like Atkinson County, they just had the state $2,000 a homestead. So there is generally, human nature to vote for an exemption.
Right.
And that's what they did. There were some that was voted for it, some voted against it. But it passed, and we're looking at what's best for Ware County.
Right.
And what's best for Ware County is to opt out, because the homestead that we have is way better than anything the state's offering.
And it'll be way better 20 years from now.
Yes, it will. And again, I was in a meeting, I'm on the advisory committee for the Department of Revenue Commissioner. And I brought that subject up of us opting out and affecting the sales tax. How would that work? And they said it will not affect you guys the way it will if it was, say, Atkinson County. If they opted out, they could not have the sales tax. But because we have the freeze already, we can still get the sales tax. And they said by far and away, and this was Revenue Commissioner, the Chief Deputy Revenue Commissioner, the Revenue Commissioner, Chief Deputy, there's all kinds of titles. ACCG, Clint Mueller, GMA, they all said, Ware County, y'all's homestead is far and away better than anything we got. Y'all should opt out.
And they're not gonna let us get both of them? They won't let us get the second one and keep our homestead?
Second what?
The new bill.
It wouldn't affect us.
Oh, it wouldn't affect us, we wouldn't get extra credit?
No, that was a floating homestead, they're still getting their $2,000 off. Atkinson County will still get that. But the CPI index that they're gonna use is gonna allow that, they're gonna say your assessed value that you get taxed on cannot be higher than that CPI index. So it can be like the inflation index, where real estate goes up 200%, but inflation only went up 6%. So that 6% value is what you can be taxed on.
Okay. So we just need to get the word out there to our constituents on our side and tell them, need to stick with what we got.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the best
And
move.
like I said, you have to have, the commissioner's gonna have to have meetings. The school board's gonna have to have meetings. The city's gonna have to have meetings. And they're gonna have there'll be 3 individual meetings, 3 weeks. And that's what that's for. That you can help them, educate them that way. We can put stuff in the newspaper. We can just, this right now, just to educate people.
Right.
Understand that Ware County's homestead is far and away better than anything that the state's offering.
Okay.
Because we have a freeze. And when you sign up for the freeze, if you sign up for the freeze, for the county freeze in 2001, their value, regardless of what it is today, it can be $500,000 today. It could have only been 100,000 back in 01. They're paying taxes on that 100,000. So school board and the city, those were passed in 07. So when they signed up for those values from 07, or whenever they signed up for the homestead, is frozen. Those values on the house and 5 acres is what they're being taxed on, regardless of how high it goes.
Okay.
And you'll be at these meetings with us, Robbie?
I don't know, I thought about letting y'all handle that.
No, we ain't getting off that easy.
Well, get off easy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You and I think Billy would be good, for your presence to be there, because it's gonna be questions or maybe things that you all can explain better than what we could about this, tax to House Bill 581.
Me and Mr. Carter, we'll talk about that.
All right, okay. It all depends on whether it's a Georgia game during that time, right?
That's true.
Whoa, that was a heck of a game this
That's
weekend. Go Dogs.
I can't already talk now.
Okay.
But I think her question was about House Bill 311, about the damaged, the list of damaged houses, about bringing that to you.
Yep.
Well, I think we should just delegate Mr. Tax Commissioner Roger Collins to handle that at his discretion, because he knows taxes a whole lot better than we know taxes.
But he has to have some approval.
I think what we'll do,
Yeah.
if it's agreeable to you all, we will make a recommendation to you all at the January meeting as to,
Yes.
one proposal.
Because it has to come from, commissions, has to decide that. It's not, I can't just do it, well, we're gonna do this, found this. It's gotta be one set millage rate for damage, one set millage rate for destroyed, or one value exemption for the damage and a different one for destroyed. So that's something we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at, the values and the numbers and how it's gonna affect the taxes and the budget and everything. We gotta look at a bunch of different things.
I mean,
Is there
if we-
gonna
if we
be
got
anything
some-
on timberland?
No.
I lost on so much.
There is a,
It's through FEMA
it's from,
or GMA.
No, they people lost.
Tyler Harper, Agricultural Commission.
Tyler Harper, yeah.
All right, so he has a program that they put to him instead of the USDA and other ones to allow that. And it has something to do with having a gate card, and all that stuff. But if you go on his website, there'll be a article about that and a link. But there is something about timberland, but again, that is through the Department of Agriculture.
I know the county's gonna lose a lot of timber tax on account of that storm because they reduced the prices, I mean, so much lower.
Yeah.
They haven't cut so much timber and they're not paying near what they should pay for.
Well,
So the
I
county
agree,
gonna lose the
I agree
tax.
because they got so much timber now, the supply is bigger than the demand.
I know,
Well, it's not bigger than the demand, they could lower prices.
yes,
But,
yeah.
But believe me, I know, I'm a very well, I'm a sample.
Lost some timber too, I did too.
I lost a lot. I've had a lot of damage, I've had it all, but I haven't said anything because everybody's got their stuff and I'm just here just doing my job.
Yeah,
So I understand the timber tax, but let me say this, for this year, you're scheduled to get $700,000 more in taxes from the new businesses, from the actual sales of the houses, and from the industrial park, well, on the tax abatements, incentives. They're paying less on that. So it's not going to, I don't see that hurting Ware County as far as that this year. I don't know how it's going to affect the coming years from timber.
yeah, there was a lot of wealth lost going up through that, where that storm hit.
Yep.
A lot of it.
Yeah. So, anybody have any questions?
We just thank you. Appreciate you being here the
Thank
next
you,
time
Roger.
it's coming.
Thank you very much. Okay. Any more?
Hold on.
Okay. Y'all have any more on them, on the taxes or anything you wanna ask?
I got another thing to bring up. I've been asked to. The CDBG grant that was for Emerson Park, I think they've repaved several streets over there. I've went over there and seen, resurfaced, repaved. and I spoke to Mr. Larry before he had to leave earlier. But the biggest complaint I'm getting right now, and even going over there and looking myself, some of the signs are still up, road signs, but they're white. I mean, if you didn't have a map, the Google map out, you wouldn't even know where you were.
Talking about street signs?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of them over there that need replacing.
Right. And that CDBG grant, I think it was from 18 or 19, something like that, was strictly for Emerson Park. It was slated for.
Remember, we had a contractor to replace all the street signs,
But who was
but
it?
they missed a lot of them out there.
They missed a bunch of them. Now, when those two blue machines that we bought,
Yeah,
which have been in the shop the last 6 months, when they first started, they did start in Emerson Park, and they started cutting the shrubbery back. And everybody was getting happy because they could start seeing around the corners in. But then the street signs became visible.
they showed up and you can't read them.
And you can't read them.
Yeah, you're right.
So we need to,
Contract and see.
So what the street signs are?
they're just like,
Stop
they're just
Washed
washed
out,
out.
the letter.
Bleached out.
You can't
Or
read
bleached
that.
out?
The sign's still there,
But,
it's just
okay.
white.
Just faded.
Yeah.
It's faded
Oh,
so
faded
much.
out.
Stop signs, the
Something
octagon
wrong with
shape.
the
Yeah, the
material.
paint or something.
No,
didn't
they've
last
just
very
been,
long.
they've been up so long.
But you put them.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have been replaced. We had a
Right.
contractor do it.
Yeah, there's some stop signs there by me, it's just as red as they be, they just, it looks like they, you can tell it's a stop sign, but it's
The
not.
octagon, yeah, but everything's gone. And the other thing is the
Okay.
rec board.
We need to look into that.
We got it, we're meeting, getting with them, and we'll do the appointments in January.
Okay,
So, yeah, that's.
All right.
You haven't been
Anything
forgotten.
else?
It's all good.
all right,
Anything else?
that's it.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Chair.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.